The last couple of years have been especially problematic for kids. A recent survey shows nearly 30% may be too nervous to talk about the things that are bothering them. But we have some help. Hattie DeJamal has ways to break through and discuss mental health with your children.
The struggles over the last couple of years have been tough on our kids, from kindergartners to teens. In fact, the American Academy of Pediatrics says parents need to take action now.
We are in a child and youth mental health crisis.
Dr. Anisha Patel Dunn, a psychiatrist and chief medical officer at LifeStance Health, has a list of ways to talk to our kids about mental health, and it starts with being vulnerable.
Being role models and being okay as parents, as adults, for us to be vulnerable and modeling that for our children, and then really encouraging our children to be open.
If your child needs help beyond what you can do, ask your pediatrician for recommendations for therapists that specialize in children.
Initially, when you see somebody for help, can be quite anxiety provoking as you're sharing some of your most intimate thoughts.
Just know it can take some time.
It can take up to 5 sessions for our children and youth to feel comfortable with their therapist.
Next up is to keep it casual. You can fish around for signs of trouble in everyday situations, like at dinner.
Going around and saying your highs and lows of the day.
She says this technique builds on being vulnerable.
The way that I try to model is give examples of where I may have been emotionally impacted, and to share that in an open way that doesn't feel threatening, that feels normal, that feels okay.
We'll wrap it up with breaking the ice via text. Kids communicate differently, and this may help them be more open about their feelings.
Using the medium that they use to communicate. I may never choose to be so vulnerable on a text to anybody, but that's not how our youth are to one another.
Having these conversations via text may seem ridiculous, but it's a great way to break through to your child. And these emojis can be a great tool too.
This is a great way to engage in a medium that our youth are used to, almost like mood trackers.
If you feel your child may be struggling, Dr. Patel Dunn says to look for common warning signs.
Recognizing if your child is acting different, sleeping later than they normally do, staying in their room longer. Just recognize and trust yourself that you know your children.
Prepping our kids for a bright future with a clean bill of mental health.